Okay, let's get into it. I just want to go over the pre-market game plan going into tomorrow, and then I'll do my best to do a little bit of a recap of today. We just hit 180 subs, which is so cool. So, thank you guys so much for the love and support. I appreciate it. Most importantly, I just hope that you're able to learn, because that's what I'm here for. That's the entire point of this, anyways, that you're actually able to learn. People have been sprinkling in, throughout the week on the live trading session Zoom link. So, been pretty cool getting some positive feedback. People able to learn as well, just see what I'm thinking and hearing in real time. So once again, guys, I really do appreciate the love and support. So today's session, don't beat yourself up if it was a wacky one or a crappy one. Today was a cash day for me. Not the best price action, which was expected, right? Coming into the session after a very big day yesterday, that's typically followed up by a consolidation day. And a little tip: whenever you're stuck in between the PDH and the PDL and the pre-market high and pre-market low, you can pretty much just make the assumption there that you're just not going to be touching, anything. And that was pretty much the start of the session here today on SPY. You can see just not the cleanest price action. We were stuck in between the pre-market high and the pre-market low. So we really didn't do too much. It looked promising at open, right? It looked very, very clean at open. But other than that, let's get into it. So let's go here on the daily, of course. What am I looking for tomorrow on SPY? Well, I'm happy. Why? Because now we're finally starting to get a little bit of a pullback here. Today's SPY was actually relatively weaker compared to QQQ, and we'll get into that once we go to Qs here. But well, what do you notice here? All right, cool. I was just elaborating on how this market has started to consolidate a little bit here on the weekly time frame. So to me, we're breaking this range. This looks really good. So what am I looking for going into tomorrow? Pullback short, 731. Today is the breakout on the daily time frame. You got the break. I'm looking for the retest. I have this labeled here not as a key level, but just so context reference, just so we can know where we're sitting on the market. So you can look for this as well instead of under the previous day low if you want to trade under the PDL. But this is the low on the week. So if you can get something under that, we're making new lows on the week. So I would definitely look for that. Tomorrow on SPY. What do you notice here? Well, guess what? Right, we're no longer having an inside bar week. So today was a pretty big day. A healthy pullback here in the overall market. Finally, nice to see that. I mean, look at all these weeks here, just straight green. So finally, we're starting to see a pullback here in this very extended market. So the game plan going into tomorrow is definitely, depending on what we look like pre-market, of course, and what we do after hours. I'm looking for this pullback short off of 731. And like I said, you can definitely look for that break and retest under, this week's lows. You'll also be under the previous day low, and you'll be making new lows on the week. So that's a great confluence there on the overall market. Qs. Let's go here on Qs on the daily. One sec, guys. Bell's about to ring. Okay, Qs. So what do you notice here about Qs? Well, we were stuck here, back in this little channel. And now today we finally got that break. So not as big of displacement, as we did on SPY, but still a decent break here on the Qs. So what are you looking for going into tomorrow? Well, Q is definitely going to be one of my favorite plays, as it was, going into yesterday's session, and as it was going into today's session. So today's session, Q's 696 did its job. I mean, this thing held very, very nice. I was looking for this today, break and retest under that. Why? Because I love the reaction here. I mean, that was just a beautiful hold of 696 during the pre-market. After hours pre-market, slowly but surely, we were pulling our way back. Buyer stepped up, and we got a nice pop here. Today we pretty much just ended up filling the gap because obviously we gapped down just a little bit. We filled the gap, and then we made our way back down. But what do you notice here throughout the entire day, really besides going in a power hour, is we held this very, very well. We held that very well, this 696. So what am I looking for tomorrow? Well, of course, if we gap down, I'm looking for a pop and fade off of 696, and then let's say we get back above a pre-market, then I'll just be looking for that break and retest under 696. If we get above 696 and hold above it, I'm pretty much just hands off here, because then that'd be, pretty much 3 days in a row of a solid inside bar day. So I would pass on that. So only thing I really care about tomorrow is this short under 696 on the Qs. Like I said, if we gap down, you'll just be looking for that pop and fade there on Qs. IWM. So funny enough, I think this is probably the first time this year IWM was on my close watch list, and it looked really good. I was looking at this. We almost took this. Contracts were ready. They were loaded. They were ready to go. Beautiful open here on IWM. Like I said, this is still very bullish on the higher time frame. This was one of the strongest looking names actually during the pre-market, and ended up just not being able to get an entry here. So you can see very clean price action. We ended up breaking through 287. Like I've taught in the past, typically the breakout candle of my key level, I'm marking out the bottom of that for a zone, because I understand even if we do break out, if we get a pullback here, that's still part of the retest. You know what I mean? So I was looking at that. I like these two wicks after we got this displacement candle. I'm seeing, okay, cool, strong buyers are here. Buyers are trying to defend 287. The only reason I didn't take this is because you can see here, which to the damage body tells the story, like I always say, we only had a displacement of 21 cents. So I didn't really like that. That wasn't enough displacement for me. Then, as I've taught you in the past, if you know this, you can always look for the reclaim entry. You don't have to always wait for the break and retest to set up again. As long as you get a candle closure above your key level, and we get back above that key level with momentum, you can definitely take that reclaim entry. But like I said, the only reason, and I was watching this, the volume on this candle was almost, 180,000? You can see bottom left. But I did not like this wall at this 20 cent marker. So for me, it just wasn't worth the risk. 4 candles in a row at that 20 cent marker, we just kept getting rejected, especially after a candle like this. So after we got a displacement candle such as this one, then I was looking for that retest, and then I just never got it. Could have played this one. I just didn't like it. I don't really like entering off of wicks. I like for the body of the candle to close near my key level, and then I can play that momentum to either side that I'm looking to trade in. But that was like the cleanest setup, in my opinion at least, at open today on IWM. So game plan going into tomorrow on IWM. Well, let's go here on the daily. You can see we're still very bullish here on this name. And as of right now, it's just starting to consolidate. You can see here, we were stuck in between this range, 293 and 287, roughly this 290 area, 293 and 287. And then you see we got the break and retest turning this channel into resistance. And now 3 days in a row, we have turned 287 into resistance. So remember, wish you the damage, body tells the story. So 3 days in a row, body of the candle closed right under 287. So definitely a decent supply area up here. So tomorrow, shorts under 280 is definitely valid. As I always say, you can go into the day with a bias, just never marry a bias. I like that setup just because it would be a channel break as well, and you're also under the previous day low, which is a very solid confluence. But in this case, you're not wrong for either or. We're still very bullish on the higher time frame. So a break and retest over 287, targeting the top of the range, is a very valid shot. Today was very clean price action, so even if you caught that today, kudos to you. So I would definitely watch for that. You can look for shorts under 280 or shorts under 278 if you feel like that's a better RR. But I'm fairly neutral, right? Longs over 287, shorts under 280, just letting my trade come to me. It will be a range break as well, so I do like the confluence there on IWM. Tesla. So let's go here. So you can see our 395, it did its job today. I was noticing that during the pre-market that sellers were definitely stepping up here. And you can see definitely key supply area today. They turned into resistance, top of the range, all the way back down to the bottom of the range. Not the cleanest price action, but coming into today, I specified in yesterday's pre-market plan, I don't like a trade off of 395 just because, we're in between the middle of the range here. PDH, PDL, the higher probability shot would be under 383. And when you look at the candles here, 383, did a very good job defending. Buyers defended this very well. Every time we pulled back, we had big wicks stepping up, and not until, going into power hour, we slightly gave this up, barely, right? This is pretty much a wick on the daily candle. Let's go here on the daily. Let's see here. Yeah, pretty much a wick right on the daily. So what do I like now going into tomorrow here on Tesla? Well, shorts under 383. You'll be looking for that pop and fade off of 383. Or for those who like the PDL, let's say we gap down tremendously, you can look for that pop and fade off the previous day low. But 383 is going to be the key line in the sand for me going into tomorrow. I want to see us turn this into resistance. We're making new lows on the week. You can see we're now under the previous week's low. So the bears are definitely in control. So pop and fade, 383 looks really, really good on Tesla. NVIDIA. All right, so NVIDIA starting to get a little heavy here, as you can see right now during the after hours. So what are you looking for here on NVIDIA? Let's go here on the daily. There's really 2 things you can look for here on NVIDIA. Now, I don't like 203 too much, just because it's dead smack in between the PDH and the PDL. So dead smack in the middle. I'm not a fan of it too much. But today we got the breakout, so you can definitely look for a pop and fade off of 203. You got the breakout today. You got the range break today. That's a displacement candle on the daily. So break, retest 203. You can definitely look for that. I don't have the previous day low marked out. Reason for that being is because it's right near this 199. So the way that I'm looking at this is pretty much a daily double bottom on the week. There are definitely strong buyers sitting here at this 199. So if you really want to go short, and let's say you don't get that off of 203, you can look for the short under this week's lows, this 199, just because now I like the confluence. You're under the previous day low, and then you're making new lows on the week. You know what I mean? So that's just a higher probability shot. That's a great confluence there. So 203, look at that wick, right? This week's lows is 199.34. Wicked right off of 199.33. So I like this. This is pretty much a daily double bottom to me for this week so far. And then it's also a little range break here, right? That's 2 days in a row. You can see today was an inside bar day. So if we can break this general area, that's definitely a good shot for a continuation lower. So keep an eye out here on 203 for a pullback short or a break and retest to the downside under this 199 area. That looks really good. Apple. So if you watch the game plan coming into today, and there's no way I would have caught this. I was long gone by then. The game plan was a break and retest off of 295. We broke this down. Yesterday was the breakout and displacement candle on the daily time frame. Today was the retest, break, retest. So beautiful there on Apple. So now, what am I looking for tomorrow on Apple? Well, I'm looking for longs over 295. I like the confluence here. It's over the previous day high. If that sets up, that looks really good. So long over 295, targeting 301. That looks really good if there's some relative strength here on Apple. And then for those who like the PDL, you can look to take to short under the PDL, right? Targeting 281. You got the breakout yesterday of the key level. Today, sellers said, nope, we were in control. They stepped up here, pushed this thing back lower. So you will really just be playing the continuation lower back down to 281. So for those who play the PDL, break and retest, and let's say Apple opens up under the PDL, right, you can definitely look for that pullback short or the break and retest under that targeting 381. So as of today, that's going to be, I'm just going to round that to 40, the previous day low. So that looks good. So long over 295, shorts under the previous day low here. And it would be making new lows on the week. Amazon. So Amazon looks good. Amazon looks really good. Shorts under 236 is going to be probably one of my main focuses going into tomorrow outside of Tesla. Why? A lot of confluences here. You'll be under the previous day low. You'll be breaking a weekly level, and you'll be making new lows on the week. So I would definitely keep an eye out here on this 236. If you short the PDL, just be very careful because now you're going short into a weekly demand area. So I'll be very, very careful on that. But this 236, I'm definitely watching that. If you go here on the daily, you can see ever since Amazon made all-time highs, it's been pulling back. It's in a downtrend right now. As you can see, we ended up breaking 256 and we turned it into, I'm sorry, not 256. Well, we did break that too, but 250 displacement candle, 2 days in a row, break, retest, turned it into resistance, and now we're making our way back down to the downside. So this is why I say, guys, and is it opinionated? Sure, it's definitely biased, but this is why I always say you really want to focus on, your high time frame levels. No matter what you trade, there's no right or wrong way to trade. You can trade intraday setups, right? We know that. But when it comes to, your higher time frame key levels and you're trading with the higher time frame and the overall direction of the market, pretty much almost any trade that you take or setup you take can really turn into a swing trade. If you manage your position correctly, let's say you sell 90%, so now it's a green trade that can't go red and you let the rest ride. This is what I mean when I say key level to key level. It may not go key level to key level in that same day, but if you let it actually play out and let these higher time frame key levels do their job, it'll get there. So this is the importance of understanding market structure, liquidity, unmitigated liquidity, and why, candles or price travels from key level to key level for that reason. So hope that makes sense. But you got a beautiful break, retest under 250, a weekly level. As I always say, I'm going to put more emphasis on weekly levels when those opportunities set up. Why? Because it's not every day you get a setup off a weekly time frame. I'm sorry, off a weekly level. So tomorrow, big deal here. Very big deal. You can see we're in a very nice downtrend so far, ever since we had this pretty much double top here on Amazon, and the bears have been in control since then. So 236, keep an eye out on that. That looks really, really good, and it's a weekly level going into tomorrow. Look at that on the dot. Look at that. Beautiful. Like these are the reactions, down here and down here that I see that gives me conviction in my place. Right? Look at that. On the dot 236. So just seeing that now as we're talking about it, that's why it's going to be one of my main focuses going into tomorrow. Google. Watch Google here. So Google really hasn't done much. It's stuck in this range. It's still an inside bar week. You can see we've just been consolidating in between 370 and 351. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, beautiful on the dot, and then this general demand area down here. So what are you looking for here on Google? Well, shorts under 351. High probability shot tomorrow. And tomorrow is Thursday, so it's a one-day expiration, so those contracts should move fairly well. You're under the previous day low, you're under the previous week's low, and you're making new lows on the week. Remember, the more confluences, the higher probability trade. So I'm watching Google. Watch that. 351 range break. Let's see if that sets up. And Microsoft. Watch this. Some plays setting up here. Watch Microsoft. We've been talking about this for months now. It's just been consolidating. You can see we're just stuck in between 434 and 398. And is it on its way? Look at that. Are we getting our range break here to the downside? Break and retest under that? Nothing in its way until lows. So I would definitely keep an eye out here on Microsoft tomorrow. Break and retest under 398. You're getting under the previous day low. You're making new lows on the week. As you can see here, it's no longer inside bar week, so the bears are definitely in control. And you're breaking a range. A lot of confluences there. So keep an eye out there on Microsoft under 398. As for my main focuses going into tomorrow, of course, right? It's going to be Tesla. Come on now. Definitely got to watch Tesla. I will be watching Tesla under this 383. If it reclaims 383, I'm pretty much hands off there. Where else? I was just looking at this. Oh, Amazon. Amazon. I do like Amazon. That looks really good. Look at that. That looks beautiful. So shorts under 236. I definitely like that. If we hold this weekly key support level, pretty much just hands off there. It would be an inside bar date anyway. And then you can't go wrong, watching SPY and Qs. You can't go wrong watching SPY and Qs. I watch SPY and Qs every single day. So Qs, I will be looking for, this pop and fade off of 696, if we can get that. And SPY, I mean, look at that. Beautiful. After hours wick right off of that. I'll be looking for this pullback short off of 731 on the SPY. We got the breakout on the daily time frame today. Let's see if we can get that retest or continuation lower, making new lows on the week here on SPY. So hope this helps, guys. I will see you all in